Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're on lesson 28, chapter 28, which is the last lesson and chapter in the book. It's all about organizing and managing a website. We're going to learn in this chapter how to determine whether one page is enough to handle all our content. We're going to learn how to organize a simple site, how to organize a larger site, how to write maintainable code, how to optimize our site for search engines, and how to get started with version control. So all of these lessons so far, we led us through the process of designing and creating static and dynamic web content. Talked about text, graphics, multimedia. We learned a little bit about JavaScript interactivity, and we noticed some of the ways we can think about how all this content is being handled. In this lesson, we're going to learn how to look at everything as a whole. We want to learn how to think about organizing and presenting multiple web pages so that visitors can go to them, navigate through them, and not be confused. We want to make simple, easy to navigate websites. We want to make our websites also memorable enough so people come back and visit them. We're also going to talk about how websites should be updated frequently. We need to be able to create pages that are easy to maintain. This lesson shows us how to add comments and other documentation to our pages so that us or anyone else working on our code can understand and modify our pages. We're also going to talk a little bit about version control so that we can innovate individually or as part of a team without overwriting work that you might want to have saved. At this point, we have a good knowledge of HTML and CSS to produce most of our website. And we probably have done a certain number of pages and examples and even published some of them online. We're going to talk about first if one page is enough. Building and organizing an attractive and effective website doesn't always need to be super complex. There are several good reasons to actually making a single page web presence. So all the information on the site could download more quickly than on a more extensive site. If the whole site can be printed on a paper with a single print command, links between different parts of the same page usually respond a lot quicker than links to other pages. And if visitors can capture this whole page of information and easily reference it, especially if it uses minimum graphics, these are all reasons why one page could be enough. The book goes through and then shows you an example. It then talks about organizing a simple site. And then it talks about some of the mistakes beginning web developers make is creating pages that look different from other pages. You want to create some type of consistency so that no matter what page a user is on your website, they still know that it's your site. Such as if it's keeping the same header image or the same navigation bar up top and bottom. Keeping everything uniform is key. Your book then goes through and talks about organizing a larger site. When you're working on a larger site with a lot more data and pages and content, you need to have a really good layout and some good graphics that keep everything organized. You can also look at some examples of some common websites out there that are doing this. An example in your book shows you Amazon, how they have product categories as primary navigation elements. It then goes through and shows you a couple more business websites and notice some key features on why these websites are done and organized really well. Next, we want to make sure we're always thinking about optimizing our website for search engines. A major part of managing a website when you're working on a site is to make sure that it's search engine ready. You'll hear the term SEO a lot now. I know not all sites will rely on search engine traffic, but majority do. Majority of businesses and blogs and brands. So what you need to do is make sure that your site provides the information that both your customers and search engines can use to find you. So a few things you can do that will help improve your site ranking, no matter what search engine customers are using, is create interesting content, easy to use navigation, and have a mobile-friendly site. You want to make sure you have valid HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. You want to make your page responsive. Remember that download speeds matter a lot, so keep your page as small as possible, but no smaller. Never hide content from mobile users. It's fine to change how things are displayed, but content should be available no matter what device the user is on. And use the mobile-friendly test tool that we talked about earlier to see if your site is ready for mobile. It also talks about writing maintainable code. In all the coding examples, we've seen that there's a standard best practices and way to write maintainable code. If someone else should look at your code, they should understand what it is. And that includes documenting your code with comments. Whenever you develop an HTML page or CSS snippet or JavaScript function, keep in mind that you or someone else will certainly need to make changes to it someday. I know simple text pages are easy to read, but complex pages with graphics and other layout tricks can be difficult to understand. So make sure you always put comments in your code. You want to make sure you indent your code for clarity. Follow the standards that are used. All these examples in your book and all the examples I'm going to show you are a set standard basic practice of how code is indented and the spacing and how things are lined up. So pay attention to how your book is doing it and how I'm showing you the examples, and make sure you write your code to that type of standard. And this chapter is also going to talk about version control. There's several version control systems out there, but if you have a web hosting service that enables you to install any of these tools, you should create your own. One of the most popular ones is GitHub. It's easy to use and it's free, and it has cross-platform tools. You can look at the GitHub help site to start. So a lot of companies and organizations use hosted version control systems such as GitHub or Bitbucket. Share code snippets or whole pages with others. You can control different versions, fork your content. You can use repositories, share repositories, upload repositories. It's an excellent way to get started with version control for your work. It then talks about using HTML and CSS frameworks. Now, we talked about JavaScript frameworks, but if you want to use a content management system or CMS like WordPress or Drupal or Joomla, you will end up using a presentation template designed for one of those systems. But if you don't want to use a CMS, you want to make a good starting point, there's HTML and CSS frameworks. Some popular ones are Bootstrap, Foundation, HTML5 boilerplate, and although front-end frameworks can be incredibly useful, you run the risk of making it look like every other site or falling into that cookie cutter trap, which your site looks like all the other ones out there, or at least all the ones using that framework. So try to use a little bit of creativity to avoid that trap and test some of the features out there. Now we have the PowerPoint presentation for Chapter 28, Lesson 28.